Why don't I hear anything? This is one of those. I think it's the last day of the year. I don't know why. I don't know why all of these things are happening, but apparently we're having some issues with everything.
Hi. All right, so Rumble's not working today.
Apparently.
I don't know what now I can hear myself. Rumble's not working today, so we welcome all of our Rumblers, hopefully, to one of our other platforms, whether it's YouTube or X. I don't know where you guys are. I don't know where you guys come from. I'm just so glad that you're here. And it's the last day of 2024. It's December 31st, 2024. It's a new year, and I'll be honest with you, it's not. Thank God it's ending just the way it began. I've been fighting technical difficulties. I've been on and that's the thing about the holidays too. I'm not a big fan of the holidays. I mean, I like the holidays. I like Christmas. I like, celebrating Jesus is amazing. I like the New Year's. There's time with family, all that kind of stuff. But I don't like the holidays because everybody stops working except for me. And I'm like, what, if I need technical support or if I need help or if something's broken, there's nobody around to fix it. And I'm like sitting here going, why does everybody feel the need to take off so much time? You've had weeks off. Let's get back to work. You know who's working? Donald Trump's working. You know who's working? The entire administration is working. They're not taking days off. They're out there grinding. They're out there making sure things happen. They're out there making sure that their nominees get chosen and confirmed by the Senate. They're out there saying, hey, here's what. They're out there making deals, wheeling and dealing and prepping and warning everybody. That's the thing. There's a big warning today from Donald Trump, and I'll get to that here in just a minute. In fact, I'll tell you how I knew it was a slow news day today. I didn't expect the technical difficulties, but I could tell it was let me show you how I know today was a slow news day, because I went online, I went on X, and I was looking around, and I was like, all right, I'm thinking to myself, okay, here's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go and I'm going to look at the usual suspects. I'm going to see what everyone's tweeting about. I'm going to see what people are talking about. I'm going to see what the big news of the day is. And I started by going to my good friend Cat Turd's page. And the first tweet I saw from Cat Turd today, or the first X post I saw, was, "I feeling like sushi for lunch today." And that's how I knew it was going to be a slow news day. When Cat Turd's out there going, "I feeling like sushi for lunch today" on X, that's how you know it's going to be. By the way, there's this meme is just making me uncomfortable. There's a meme somebody posted underneath it. It's a picture of Nancy Pelosi, and it says, "You can eat my sushi." That's just disgusting. That's just Happy New Year, everybody. Anyway, so listen, is Rumble working now? It wasn't working. Someone's telling me Rumble's working. Let me check here real quick. This is why we multi-platform too, by the way. This is the important thing about having, there's an old saying in business. They say in business, one is the deadliest number. You should never have one of anything. You should never have one platform that you rely on. You should never. Oh, look at that. It's working. All right. Well, never mind. I guess we got people on Rumble that are. So for everyone on Rumble that I told to go to YouTube, you can go back to Rumble now, because apparently we are up and running. They got it fixed just in the nick of time. In the meantime, we do have some things to cover before the end of it. Might be a shorter show today because, like I said, there's not a lot of news. There's only two people working today, me and President Donald Trump. And what we've seen, there's a couple of things. First of all, Donald Trump released a brand new ad, and a lot of people were like, "There's two sides of the spectrum here," and you can really kind of tell a lot about a person's political leanings or whatever by their response to this ad. Because Donald Trump, released a brand new ad on New Year's Eve, and a couple people go, "Why is he still advertising?" And then other people go, "Oh, that's freaking awesome." So you're either one or the other. You're either, why is he releasing an ad? He won the election. Or you're like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm going to play it for you here in just a minute. This is a pre-inauguration 2025 preparatory ad from President Donald Trump.
Trump has left the building. Over.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency.
What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are like, why is he releasing an ad now? He's already president. Well, here's the thing. The thing that Donald Trump knows, because he's a businessman, he understands things, is that people have short memories. People, they forget things easily. And, when you're out there campaigning, it's easy to keep promoting these messages. When you're out there campaigning, you have all these great ads and these videos and these interviews that are popping up, and you're going on podcasts left, right, and center. You're doing all of these things. And the message is clear. The message is getting out there. It's getting to the people. People are wearing your T-shirts, and they're putting bumper stickers on your car, and they're putting their signs in your yard. People are going to your rallies. People are talking to their friends about it. It's really easy to spread a message during a campaign. But once the campaign's over, the message needs to be, you need to be reminded of the message. And this, I think, is an important distinction. And this is something important that I think Donald Trump is going to do. He's going to remind you repeatedly throughout the next 4 years what the hell it is you voted for. And that not only did you vote for it, but now you've got to do something about it. In fact, I wrote in the Kayetriot Dispatch today. And if you're not a member of the Kayetriot Dispatch, if you don't get our daily emails, you should go to markk.com. But every single day, right here in the from Kayetriot HQ in the heart of Mar-a-Lago, I send out a Kayetriot Dispatch. And today I talked about how, this new golden age that Donald Trump is talking about, this new golden age that he promised us, is coming. But the new golden age does not just mean like, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to be driving around in a Ferrari, and I'm going to get a brand new Raptor, and we're going to go on all these great vacations, and it's going to be, I'm going to have all this money. That's not what it means. The new golden age, what Donald Trump is doing, what Vivek and Elon and Tulsi Gabbard and Mike Walls, what all these people are doing, Pete Hegseth, they are creating the atmosphere in which you can survive and thrive and succeed as an American citizen. They're not going to do it for you. You can't do it for you. This is the whole thing with the, when you go back to the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, we can set up a government. We can set up a place, a country where you can do all these great things, but you actually have to be the one that does them. And this new golden age, I think a lot of people, Donald Trump's trying to inspire you and remind you that feeling that you had during the campaign, that feeling that inspired you to go out and vote. Fight, 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 vote, 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 all of those things. You voted in the primary for Donald Trump, check. You voted in the general election for Donald Trump, check. Now what? You can't just sit back and do anything. You can't just sit back and relax. The fight's just beginning. And if you really want to make America great again, if you want to make America strong again, if you want to make America rich again, if you want to make America powerful again, it starts by making Americans great again. America is made up of Americans. So the more Americans that we can make great, the more Americans that we can make strong, the more Americans that we can make safe, the more Americans that we can make rich, the greater, the stronger, the safer, and the richer America becomes. I did a whole salad metaphor a couple weeks ago, which was kind of cool, but also made me queasy, so I won't get into it again. But it's just like it's a playground is what I said this morning. Donald Trump is going to build us the most badass playground you've ever seen. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be jungle gyms and swings and slides, and there's going to be batting cages, and there's going to be a track if you're into that. There's going to be swimming pools where you can do laps and diving boards. There's going to be a cold plunge tub because that's all the rage. Everybody's sitting in cold water. That's the new thing. Everyone wants to sit in cold water for like 3 minutes because they say it's better. It does. It's like Wim Hof. I don't know. It's better than Wim Hof method is better than caffeine. I don't know. I don't buy it. But a lot of people swear by it. And all of these things are going to be that they're going to be given to us, and then we can do whatever we want. You can get a gym membership. Somebody could build a gym right next to your house, give you a free membership, unless you walk in there and start pounding weights or hitting the rowing machine or the Stairmaster. You're not going to see any positive changes. That's what Donald Trump's doing. He's building us the most amazing gym. He's putting it right there in front of our faces. We got to get in there and we got to do something about it. And that's why these ads are there. He's reminding you, he's like, look, this is everything we've accomplished. Everything they said we couldn't do, we've done it. But the fight continues. And the fight's going to, look, today, I get it. It's New Year's Eve. Tech support's off. People are ready to go. They want to pop the tops on the champagne bottles. They want to pop the cork. They want to stay up till midnight watching the ball drop and listening to Anderson Cooper get drunk with that guy from Bravo. I get it. That's what you got planned. Maybe some people are going out. I am not. I'm not a going out kind of person. I'm a staying in kind of person. I'm a counting down till midnight person. And then at midnight 01, I'm like, all right, can we go to bed now? Do we have to stay up any later? Can we just go ahead and start the new year? And then tomorrow I wake up and I hit the ground running. That's my case. But, there are people that stay out all night. They stay out till 2, 3 in the morning. That's you do you. You do whatever you want to do. But the fact of the matter is that when 2025 hits, we are going to be hitting the ground pretty hard. On Friday, Mike Johnson, who was just endorsed by President Donald Trump. We read the endorsement to you. I've read it multiple times. I read it this morning in the 47 Daily podcast, which if you don't subscribe, www.the47daily.com. You can hear all the dirt every single day directly from President Trump, his transition team, eventually President Trump and his White House administration, delivered succinctly and in an entertaining format directly to your iPhone or your podcast platform of choice, the47daily.com. And I spoke about it today. I spoke about it yesterday. I did an entire video on the Congress people, the 5 Congress people that could thwart Donald Trump's entire endorsement of Mike Johnson. But that fight is going to begin. Mike Johnson's thrilled. He's excited. He's out there campaigning for himself.
I'm really humbled and honored to have President Trump's endorsement for Speaker again. He and I work so well together, so closely together, and we have a lot of big things to do. He recognizes that what we need right now, I think my colleagues recognize this as well, is a proven fighter and a true MAGA conservative, but also someone who can work with every single member of our very diverse House GOP so that we can get President Trump's priorities over the line. That's what's ahead of us. I think this could be the most consequential presidency and Congress of the modern era because we have to fix everything, and it has to start on day one, so we can't waste any time.
By the way, pardon me, I just lost my voice. By the way, this whole thing is totally ironic to me because he's talking about pushing President Trump's agenda over the line, getting his prerogatives pushed through, making all that kind of stuff. This is the guy that took Donald Trump's one prerogative right out of the spending bill last week. So, I mean, I guess Donald Trump thinks it's better. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Is that what they say? I think Donald Trump's looking at this going, look, I could have a 1 week fight and try to get somebody in there who I don't know, I've never worked with, who I'm not sure is even better than Mike Johnson, if there is anyone. Or I could just throw all my eggs in the Mike Johnson basket, hold his hand for the next 2 years, make sure he doesn't screw anything up too badly, and avoid any kind of long, exaggerated fight for the speakership so that on Monday, which is the next big hurdle, January 6th, Donald Trump will be certified to be the president of the United States, and then we can all look forward to the inauguration. Incidentally, I got a new hat. I have a lot of hats. Oh, by the way, look, this is one of the hats I got. I got a lot of hats for Christmas. I got this one, which was the Donald Trump black and gold, which I've been coveting ever since Donald Trump wore it. I'll show you. In fact, here, let me show you my hat collection real quick. So I got, okay. So this is the first, look, we got so many hats. And then I got, where's the 47? This one, look, this is for the inauguration. I love this one. Look at that, huh? Big old 47 right there with the flat brim. So I look baller. Throw on some shades. I'll be like, yo, what's up, DC? 47 in the, anyway. And then I realized, my wife and I were talking yesterday, and then we realized it's going to be frigidly cold and I'm bald. So I actually just yesterday ordered a Trump 45-47, toque with a big puff ball. What do you call it? Like a bond? What do you call those things? Big ball, like a big ball on the top, that I'll actually wear in the cold. These will be more my indoor hats. This is like, you'll see me wearing these indoors, like maybe when I'm doing the podcast in DC. But anyway, so that's, I think, Donald Trump's thinking. I think he's like, look, I just need somebody in place. Mike Johnson, we can handle him. We'll get it done, and then we'll be certified, and that way we can move forward to the inauguration. I believe that's President Donald Trump's thinking. The other thing that he's thinking is that the real battle, the real battle, is going to be in the Senate. And the Senate, even though the Republicans are going to have the majority, apparently there's some people in the Senate, and I imagine they're all Democrats, and they are planning some shenanigans, if you will, for these confirmation hearings. And that's something that Donald Trump does not want. He wants his people confirmed, and he wants his people confirmed fast, and he doesn't want anyone mucking around. So Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social, "We just won a historic landslide and mandate from the American people, but Senate Democrats are organizing to improperly stall and delay the confirmation process of many of our great nominees. They will try all sorts of tricks starting very soon. Republicans must not allow them to do that. We have a country to run and many big problems to solve, mostly created by Democrats. Republicans, be smart and tough. Now, with Republicans, you usually get one or the other. You get a lot of smart Republicans. You get some tough Republicans. Rarely do you get a smart and tough Republican. Donald Trump's asking them all to be both. And there are some that fit that bill. There are some that are smart as a whip, sharp as a tack, tough as nails. I can't think of any other great, metaphors at the moment, but I'm sure there are plenty. They are out there, but there's not as many as we need. And in fact, there's a lot of really dumb and pathetically weak Republicans too. But we're not harping on the negatives; we're harping on the positive. And Donald Trump is trying to get ahead of it. He's saying, "Look, I know you're out there. I know you're partying. I know you're excited, but they're going to fight when somebody's, the Democrats. They don't ever give up ever. They will all, and when they're down, they fight harder and dirtier than ever before. They're never convinced of anything." They're not these, I tell you all the time, if you turn on The View, it's not like the ladies on The View woke up on November 6th, went on TV and said, you know what? We were wrong. You guys were right. Donald Trump's the man. MAGA, make America great again. Let's go, go, go. Whatever whatever Donald Trump wants, Donald Trump will get. No, they're convinced. They're doubling down on the fact that they believe he's a racist and a rapist and all these other horrible things. They believe he's a criminal. They're going to be reading more and more of these, legally bound apologies or legally directed apologies from the ABC legal department as the year goes on, because they're going to attack more. They're going to attack more. They're going to get dirtier. It's everybody on the left. Donald Trump knows that, and he's like, look, we got confirmations we got to do. We've got to get these confirmations through. We don't have time to muck around. So we've got to work now. And the interesting thing he said about it, and this is something that I think is very interesting, is that he said, let me pull it up again. He said they will try all sorts of tricks starting very soon. Now, the confirmation hearings aren't for another couple of weeks. Donald Trump's not even president yet. The Senate's not even in session. And so he knows that they're going to, as soon as they get back to Washington, and maybe even sooner, he knows that the shenanigans are going to begin, and that the Democrats are going to do whatever they can to thwart Donald Trump. Look at what they did before. 2 impeachments, 91 indictments. I mean, it's crazy. The conviction, quote unquote, in New York, the mugshots. Look at all of these things. Searching Mar-a-Lago, sending the FBI to rifle through his wife's underwear drawer. All of these things are despicable. They're deplorable. They're dastardly. Unless you're a Democrat, in which case it's just, the status quo. That's just doing business. That's just business as usual. Weaponizing the DOJ, weaponizing the FBI, weaponizing all of these different areas. All that. That's just how you do things. That's just politics, folks. And Donald Trump knows it. And you know who else knows it? Susie Wiles. Susie Wiles, the very first female chief of staff, the Ice Queen, the Dragon Lady, all these different names. We spoke with her daughter a couple of weeks ago, and it got some real insight into the woman. She's an amazing woman, really, truly, incredibly talented and accomplished, but she's also no nonsense. And the New York Post, in an exclusive, reported that Team Trump, by the directive of Susie Wiles, ordered all intended nominees to stop posting on social media ahead of Senate confirmations. President-elect Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, sent a message Sunday ordering nominees to refrain from any posting on social media as Senate confirmation hearings are scheduled to start next week. While this instruction has been delivered previously, I am reiterating that no member of the incoming administration or transition speaks for the United States or the president-elect himself, Wiles wrote in a memo obtained by the Post. Accordingly, all intended nominees should refrain from any public social media posts without prior approval of the incoming White House counsel, she said in the December 29th missive. There she is in Iowa. I mean, I assume it's Iowa because it says Iowa really large in the background. There's Donald Trump at a Turning Point Action event. The first ever female chief of staff, nicknamed the Ice Maiden, also noted that she appreciates how enthusiastic everyone is about joining the second Trump term in her otherwise frank directive. Trump's nominees have been silent ahead of what is expected to be a fraught process for some in the GOP-controlled Senate. If Democrats band together against any nominee's confirmation, Republicans can't afford to lose any more than 3 votes from their own conference. The Wiles memo, according to a Trump transition source, is not in response to the recent social media ruckus caused by Department of Government Efficiency chairs Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy over H-1B visas that had MAGA world spinning. Now, a couple things I'd like to point out about this. First of all, I don't imagine that this memo was meant for public consumption, but yet here we are once again. Somebody in the Trump team, somebody in Trump world, in fact, they mention it. They say, the Wiles memo, according to a Trump transition source, is not in response to the recent social media ruckus. So maybe this memo got out somehow. They reached out to the transition, and then someone on the transition said, look, this is not what this is about. Or somebody gave the memo to the New York Post and said, hey, by the way, this is not, either way, I don't like this information getting out, because this was a big problem for Donald Trump in his first campaign, were these leaks. Sometimes he leaks information on his own. Sometimes he leaks it when he feels like it's necessary to and beneficial to his agenda. But sometimes sometimes other people are like, oh, you know what? I can get in good with the media. I can get a favor from my buddy over at the New York Post. Maybe he'll get me some tickets to the Jets game. Nobody wants tickets to the Jets game. Yeah, never mind. But anyway, that's, there's people that try to leak this information and get information that is otherwise supposedly secure or intended only for administration officials. They get it out there because they feel, hey, that can benefit me. I have information that somebody else would want, and then I can curry favor with it, and boom, all of a sudden I'm a bigwig. In the end, though, I don't think it's going to work out well for leakers. And I imagine that Susie Wiles also has a plan for, well, these leakers. The other interesting thing about this is that it came out, or this memo went out on Sunday, supposedly, and then Donald Trump went on Truth Social today and started talking about the dirty tricks. So I feel like there's maybe something that was stated or something that somebody posted on X. There's something going on. I don't know if it was Pete Hegseth or Tulsi Gabbard or RFK. They're all very prominent social media celebrities and social media users. X has been a platform not just for, loudmouth conservatives like me, but also politicians to reach the people directly. We talk all about how Tim Burchett uses X. He goes out there every single time there's a vote that he votes no on, and he's like, hey, man, here's the deal. Here's why I voted no. And then some young girl catches his eye, and he goes, hey, girl.
We don't trust him with 50 cents, much less, hey, girl.
That's my favorite. This is one of my favorite clips. Hey, listen, I voted against this bill because they want trillions and trillions of dollars, and I don't trust them with 50 cents, let alone, oh, hey, girl. He's a man. He's just a man. He can't control himself.
We don't trust him with 50 cents, much less, hey, girl.
That is Tim Burchett, one of my new favorite Congress people. Also one of the Congress people that could really throw a ratchet in the system when it comes to reelecting Michael Johnson to the Speaker of the House position. So I had a point before I went off on the Tim Burchett rant. Oh, yeah. So it's interesting to me that this came out, right, that Donald Trump immediately said, hey, the Senate is going to start trying some dirty tricks. And all of a sudden, Susie Wiles was like, hey, look, you guys got to stop it. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of dirty tricks they have up their sleeves. It'll be interesting to see what kind of stuff they're going to bring to light. Maybe there are some tweets that are less than, desirable for a potential nominee. Maybe there are some other posts that could cause conflict. But the real problem I have with this, and this is a continued problem. This is a problem I've had for a long time. It's a problem I'm going to continue to have for a long time. I'm going to have this problem forever. And no, it's not male pattern baldness. It is that it clearly states in this article. They said it perfectly in this article. They said here, let me read it just so I can. Okay, basically, I'll just recap it. What they said in this article was very poignant, that if the Democrats hold, which they will, if the Democrats band together, which they're going to do, that's what the Democrats do. The Democrats are great at what they do because no matter how much they hate each other, no matter how much they despise each other, no matter how stupid they think each other are, when it comes time to vote, they are lockstep. They hate Republicans more than they hate each other. And that is a problem the Republican Party does not have. The Democrats, and I always use the AOC Nancy Pelosi example because AOC and Nancy Pelosi hate each other. Nancy Pelosi does not like AOC. She doesn't like this squad. She doesn't like these young whippersnappers coming in there thinking that just because they have more Twitter followers than Nancy Pelosi, they're going to start running the joint. No. She's Nancy Pelosi. She's been there since the Capitol Dome was built back in the 1800s. She's the one in charge, and she's the one that's going to call the shots. And no bartender from the Bronx is going to come in there with her Twitter account and her staged photos and tell her otherwise. She runs the show, and she will threaten, and she will cajole, and she will threaten again, AOC, and she will lash, she will take her to task. She will rip her a new one behind closed doors. But when they walk out there in front of the cameras, it's all smiles, it's all Democrats, it's one for all for one. And if they're going to vote yes, they all vote yes. And if they're going to vote no, they all vote no. And if they're all going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries, they are all going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries. And it doesn't matter what happened in the back room the night before. On the floor of the Congress, they are all for one and one for all. And the idiot Republicans, pardon me, the Republicans rather, they ain't like that. They fight in public, they fight in private, they fight in front of cameras, they fight on Twitter, they fight all in the halls of Congress, they fight on the floor, they fight everywhere. And when it comes time to vote, they all over the place. And the fact of the matter is that there are 53 Republican senators, which means that we should have and then of course J.D. Vance, which would be the tiebreaker. So you have 53 Republican senators. If we lose 3 votes, J.D. Vance comes in and he saves the day and he does what he's supposed to do and he confirms the nominees. But we should not lose 3 votes on any of these nominees. There should be the same kind of lockstep camaraderie. There should be the same kind of, linked together, like the best game of Red Rover you've ever played, arms locked, nobody splitting us apart. It doesn't matter. I don't care that Dan Crenshaw invests money and makes money and is a rhino and everybody hates him. No, I don't like the guy either. Nobody really likes Dan Crenshaw. I'm pretty sure Dan Crenshaw looks in the mirror every now and then and goes, God, I suck. But when it comes time to vote, we need Dan Crenshaw and everyone else to vote together. I know that's the House of Representatives. But when you look at the Senate, for example, John Thune, John Cornyn, Lisa Murkowski, the one from Iowa, Joni Ernst from Iowa, all these, acolytes of Mitch McConnell, all of these people who've been they've been in bed with Mitch McConnell since day one. All of these folks, yeah, sure. I get it. They have their morals. They have their values. They think this, they think that, whatever. When it comes time to vote, there should be no question that RFK Jr. is going to get 53 votes to confirm in the Senate. There should be no question that Tulsi Gabbard is going to get 53 votes to confirm in the Senate. There should be no question that Pete Hegseth is going to get 53 votes to confirm in the Senate. And the fact that there is a question is a problem. The fact that there's a question, that there's such a question that Donald Trump has to go out there and warn Republicans, hey, look, these senators are going to they're going to pull some dirty tricks. What dirty tricks? Let them pull the dirty tricks. We got 53 votes, but we don't. We learned that with Matt Gaetz. The whip count wasn't there for Matt Gaetz, so he had to bow out. Now we've got Pam Bondi. She should get 53 votes, no question. And anybody who votes against any one of the remaining nominees should not get your vote the next time they're up for re-election. And a lot of them are up for re-election, guess when? In 2 years, in 2026. Joni Ernst is. John Cornyn is. Who else? The guy from Louisiana who I don't like. That guy is. There's so many of them. If the Republicans can't stick together like the Democrats, we're going to have a serious problem for the next 4 years. And Donald Trump knows that. And that's why he's out there throwing his weight behind Mike Johnson. That's why he's out there telling everybody we need to get this done. That's why he's telling everybody watch out for their dirty tricks. And that's why Susie Wiles sent out a memo to all of the nominees saying, keep your trap shut for 2 more weeks. We don't need anybody getting any information or any ideas or twisting or turning your words in any way, shape, or form that would jeopardize your nomination process because we only have 3 votes. And God forbid Pete Hegseth writes something on X and Joni Ernst changes her mind and then we lose out on one of the best Secretary of Defense nominees we've ever had. God forbid that happens. It could. Why? Because Republicans are not like the Democrats, which is kind of frustrating. There's a couple of, oh, by the way, I do see some super chats coming in from a couple of people, and I appreciate that. I keep forgetting that it's New Year's Eve, and on holidays, people are very generous on it. I really am bad about that. I really should take better advantage of your generosity and beg. I beg for more super chats, but I'll tell you what we'll do at the end of the show today. We'll take 10, 15 minutes and we'll read through all of your super chats. So if you would like to leave a super chat, or if you're on Rumble and you'd like to leave a Rumble rant to celebrate the final day of the year and get us situated for a great 2025, then that would be, like I said, we'll do whatever you want to say, whatever information you have, we will be happy to share them. If you're on YouTube, it's really simple. You just, you know how to do it. If you're on Rumble, also very simple. We'll take some time at the end of the show, like I said, to roll through a couple of those. There was another thing that happened today that I wanted to share, and there's a couple of really interesting stories. A couple of really interesting stories that are popping up, and one of them was not just with Donald Trump and his warning to. In fact, let me pull this up here because I want to make sure that I cover everything. Yeah, here we go. Trump rallies Republicans, be smart and tough. And he goes through his whole thing about the historic landslide, which, by the way, has caused there's another thing happening now. Every time Donald Trump says a historic landslide and mandate from the American people, there's Democrats that pop up in the media and they say, whoa, 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 this wasn't a historic landslide. This wasn't a mandate from the American people, but it truly was. And when you look at the difference, not between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, but between Donald Trump and Donald Trump, when you look at the difference between Donald Trump in 2024 and Donald Trump in 2020 or even 2016, you see that it's a mandate. The fact that he got more electoral votes than ever means that Donald Trump is the person that the Americans want. The fact that he got more popular vote than ever, not just more than Kamala Harris, more than a Democrat, by the way, is a mandate. If a Republican president gets more popular vote than the Democrat that he's running against, that is a mandate in modern American politics, because it hasn't happened in a very long time. It didn't happen with Donald Trump in 2016. Hillary Clinton got the popular vote, and I remember that because all the Democrats were screaming and yelling about the Electoral College and how the popular vote, blah, 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 blah. Same thing happened with George W. Bush and Al Gore. Do you remember that? And then there were dimpled Chads and indentured Chads and butterfly Chads and grasshopper Chads and all kinds of ballots and things. It was just a mess. And they were screaming and yelling about the Electoral College back then. Whenever they win the popular vote and lose the Electoral College, they want to get away with the Electoral College. Now they lost the Electoral College and the popular vote. And that means that Donald Trump won in a landslide and has a mandate from the American people. But he says, look, that's what we've got. We've got great nominees and we've got to make sure that they get through so that we can start working and we can start doing everything that we can to make sure that that this country is as great as it can possibly be. There was another story about Donald Trump, and because Donald Trump is an interesting character, because most politicians, when they get elected to office, they go in there and they have two things on their minds. Number one, how do I set myself up for the rest of my life? And how do I reward my friends? They want to focus on the economy because the economy is a big story. They want to focus on crime, whatever. If they're Democrats, they want to focus on woke policies. They always have their one big thing. For Donald Trump, it's the economy and the border and immigration. Those are huge things. But rarely do you see a president like Donald Trump who wants to come in and not only make America great again, but really make America the best it's ever been. And that is something that is rare. Most presidents are coming in and they're given the keys to the kingdom and they go, all right, let me just keep this boat chugging along. Let me just keep this ship straight and moving forward. Let me just make sure that while I'm in charge, I don't muck it up. I don't want to be, I want to be the next president of the United States. I don't want to be the last president of the United States. Let me try to keep us out of wars. Let me try to keep us, solvent economically. Let me try to make sure that we don't not everyone gets killed by violent criminals. Let me just do that. Donald Trump, he's more interested in not only making America great again, but making it better than it's ever been. And he's doing things that people have not done since real like the idea of taking back the Panama Canal or the idea of buying Greenland. These are things that back in the day didn't seem that odd. You know, it did when Thomas Jefferson made the Louisiana Purchase. Thomas Jefferson made, yeah, that's right? Hold on, let me make sure before I get back to Thomas Jefferson, Louisiana Purchase. Yes, when Thomas Jefferson made the Louisiana Purchase in a land deal with France in 1803 that doubled the size of the country, nobody was like, whoa, what's he thinking? He's talking crazy. He just did it. He's like, hey, let's make the country twice as big. That stopped happening. Why? Well, because manifest destiny, we got all the way to California, and we figured, okay, there's just ocean here. We picked up Hawaii, sure. We got Alaska. Yeah, that's great. But there's ocean here, so we should probably just stop. No, Donald Trump's like, screw it. Greenland. We need it. Economically, it's good for us. Strategically, it's good for us. Militarily, it's good for us. There's lots of oil there. They're not doing anything with it anyway. Who wouldn't want to be part of the United States of America? So Donald Trump goes, let's go back to our roots when we weren't just building a country, but we were expanding a country, growing a country. When we weren't just worried about making this country the best we can be, we were looking out to the world and saying, we want America to be the biggest, boldest, baddest, mammoth jamma country in the world because we know that we're built on staunch moral values and Christian principles and the idea that everybody can work together to succeed and freedom and liberty. And if you don't spread those across the globe, somebody else is going to spread the opposite of that. And we don't want that. We don't want socialism and Satanism and atheism. And we don't want this other stuff. We want the good stuff. And we want everyone to experience it. And Donald Trump is bringing that kind of back. That kind of thinking has been gone. You know, even Ronald Reagan, as great as he was, never said, well, I think we need more land. Let's annex Canada. Donald Trump wants to annex Canada. Like, he's serious about that. He's not joking. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank has offered to go down to Mar-a-Lago because Kevin O'Leary, just like me, Kevin O'Leary and I have a bunch in common. We're both bald. We're both originally Canadian. He's got a little bit more money than I do, which reminds me, keep those super chats coming because I got to get on Kevin O'Leary's level. But Kevin O'Leary, he has offered to go to Mar-a-Lago to become a liaison and begin the peaceful transfer of power of the United States over Canada. I'm going to pull this up because this is happening. Kevin O'Leary. Here we go. Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary says half of Canadians favor Trump's proposal for Canada to join the U.S. Canadian investor and Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary said Thursday that he wants to help broker a deal with President-elect Donald Trump that would create some sort of economic union between the U.S. and Canada, declaring that at least half of his countrymen would support such a merger. O'Leary's interest in unifying the U.S. and Canada comes after Trump has repeatedly suggested in recent weeks that Canada should become our 51st state. Canadians over the holidays here. In fact, I'll just, you know what? Why don't I just play it since I have it? I have that power.
1 million Canadians, there's 41 million Canadians, basically the population of California, sitting on the world's largest amounts of all resources, including the most important, energy and water. Canadians over the holidays, the last 2 days, have been talking about this. They want to hear more. And so, you know, there's obviously a lot of issues, more details, but what this could be is the beginning of an economic union. Think about the power of combining the two economies, erasing the border between Canada and the United States, and putting all that resource up to the northern borders where China and Russia are knocking on the door. So secure that, give a common currency, figure out taxes across the board, get everything trading both ways, create a new, almost EU-like passport. I like this idea, and at least half of Canadians are interested. The problem is the government's collapsing in Canada right now. Nobody wants Trudeau to negotiate this deal. I don't want him doing it for me, so I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'll start the narrative. The 41 million Canadians, I think most of them would trust me on this deal.
Okay, so there's why not? You know, let's go again. We have a reality star in charge of our country. Why don't we? Kevin O'Leary's angling here to be the next governor of the state of Canada. That's what he wants. He's like, look, don't make Trudeau's gone. Pierre Poilievre, he wants to be prime minister. Me, I just want to be governor of the 51st state of Canada. He knows what's up, and but he's dead serious. They all are. It makes sense for us to continue to grow this country. And nobody has thought like that in over a century. There has never been anyone talking about American expansion. The Panama Canal. We built the canal. Nobody ever thought we would give it away. But guess who did? Jimmy Carter. May he rest in peace. And Jimmy Carter was, yes, a good man, but he was not a good president. He was not a good president. He was not a good statesman. He did not have the best interests of the United States at heart. And I don't want to drag the guy's dead. I don't want to drag his memory through. I'll give him a couple more days. Maybe next week we'll get into it a little bit more about how awful Jimmy Carter was. But the fact of the matter is he gave away an amazing asset. And if you are the president of the United States, your job is to protect our assets, not give away our assets, not put our assets in the hands of other people that can't protect them. Do you know what happened after we gave away the Panama Canal? And I talked about this a little bit last week. We gave away the Panama Canal. We gave millions and millions of dollars to Panama. We gave them $50 million annually to build a military. And what did they do? They brought in Manuel Noriega. They used that military against us, and we had to go in and invade their military, which we bought and paid for. It was our military basically invading our own military in Panama, and they kept the canal. Donald Trump says, no way, Jose. And that's not I'm not saying the guy's name is Jose. I forget the president. It's not Jose, but I'm just saying, no way. It's a familiar colloquialism. No way, Jose. We're taking it back. Greenland, Canada, the Panama Canal. What else is there? There's got to be something else we're not thinking about. What about Australia? Those people out there, man, you know what Australians eat? They're itching for some guns. They're out there. They're petrified with fear. Their government took away all their guns. They can't protect themselves. They feel like they're prisoners in their own homes. I say invade Australia. They can't protect themselves. they don't have any weapons. Anyway, so that's what Donald Trump wants to do. The other thing Donald Trump wants to do, and I'm all for this too, is Donald Trump says we need to restore Mount McKinley. Because, fun fact, another Democrat president basically destroyed Mount McKinley. I mean, it's still there. It's still the largest mountain in the United States of America, but it's no longer called Mount McKinley. A lot of people don't even know that. In 2015, then President Barack Obama renamed Mount McKinley to Denali. And he did that in a merger with GMC. I'm totally kidding. Wouldn't that be? GMC gave the government $20 million to rename Mount McKinley to Denali so they could take their trucks out there and do some pretty bitchin' commercials. No, what happened was the Barack Obama, the woke White House of Barack Obama, working with the woke Interior Department, decided with a bunch of woke Alaskans that Mount McKinley should be renamed Denali because that's what the Aboriginal people called it. Mount McKinley was named after President McKinley, who was assassinated and also was one of the models that Donald Trump has used in his tariff plight. In his when Donald Trump goes out there and says, hey, tariffs good, make America rich, need more tariffs, less taxes. When he says all that, that's not a new idea. That's an idea he gets from predecessors in American history who have done it. One of them is William McKinley. And the mountain was named after him until Obama came along. They're named after him for, by the way, 100 years. It was originally named Mount McKinley in 1917. And in 2015, Barack Obama was like, no, we're going to make it Denali. And now Donald Trump's like, okay, we're going to make it McKinley again. Trump promises to restore McKinley to the mountain that, at the suggestion of the Sun, the New York Sun, this newspaper, bore his name so proudly. I think he deserves it, says the president-elect. President Donald Trump is pledging to restore the name of President McKinley, his model on tariff policy, to North America's tallest mountain. Its move, he promised in 2015, one that will please Ohioans, smarting over President Obama snubbing their martyred native son while angering many Alaskans. President McKinley was the one responsible for creating a vast sum of money, Trump said at Turning Point USA America Fest on Sunday. That's one of the reasons that we're going to bring back the name of Mount McKinley, because I think he deserves it. By the way, I'm not paying. The article then starts to, you know how they fade it out and they're like, enter your credentials. I'm not going to do that. I got enough. I got the gist. I got the gist from the headline. Thanks, New York Sun. But that's basically what he wants to do. He's like, look, we're going to restore America and we're going to make America bigger and better. The other thing he's going to do is he's going to restore Washington, D.C. to greatness, which I don't understand why no president does this. Very few presidents. And look, the mayor of D.C. is different than the president of the United States. And the mayor of D.C. has separate powers. Like, we get all that. The mayor of D.C. works independently from the president. That makes sense. Sure, it's a city, but they don't work in conjunction or in tandem to beautify the city and to make it safe. Washington, D.C., the hub of power, the centralized seat of power for the American people, should be the jewel in the crown. It should be the most amazing place any of us have ever seen. When you go to Washington, D.C., and I remember the first time I went to Washington, D.C., I was much younger than I am now. I was in Boy Scouts. So I was probably 15, maybe younger, maybe 14. I was like 14, 15 years old the first time I ever, maybe younger, maybe I was 13. It doesn't matter. I was in my teens and I went to Washington, D.C. and my jaw dropped. I was like, whoa, this place is incredible. The buildings were beautiful. The statues were amazing. The monuments were glorious. Everything was clean. People were happy. There were American flags everywhere. The grass was green. The reflecting pond was beautiful. I felt safe. It was really, truly, it was an incredible experience. And I remember going, this is amazing. And then I lived in D.C. for a while and I would go downtown and I would walk around. And I go, this is a great place. I love this place. But over the past few years, every time I went back to visit, I noticed that it got worse and worse, more and more dilapidated. There were more barriers up. There was more crime. There were more police. The spectacle, if you will, of the most powerful city in the world looked less like the most powerful city in the world and more like a place where people who are scared live because of all the barricades, because of all the barriers, because of all the police activity, because of all that stuff. And a lot of it is because of crime. A lot of it is because of terrorism. A lot of it is, yes, to protect our elected officials. But you want somebody to go to Washington, D.C. and work in a place that looks like it is the beacon of hope, not something that looks like it's a penitentiary for the world's most wanted. And that's kind of what D.C. has become. Donald Trump doesn't like that. He wants it to be better. He wants it to be restored to glory. He wants because people come from all over the world, like important people or people that think they're important. I guess you would say people that think they're important come from all over the world to Washington, D.C. to act important. But it doesn't matter because that's what it is. And you don't want them to like trip over crack addicts and step in feces and hear police sirens all over. You don't want any of that. You want them to go, whoa, this place is amazing. This is way nicer than Beijing. That's what you want them to say. You want them to say, blimey, this is nicer than London. That's whatever it is. Or if they're French, you want to Sacre Bleu, Paris, Washington, D.C., très bien. Like, you want all that kind of stuff. That's what you want from your nation's capital. That's what Donald Trump wants from the nation's capital. And he met with Muriel Bowser, the mayor, who is one of the worst mayors probably of any. I mean, all these liberal cities have the worst mayors, but D.C.'s got it really bad. She met with Donald Trump and she released this statement today. President Trump and I had a great meeting to discuss our shared priorities for the president's second term. President Trump and I both want Washington, D.C. to be the best, most beautiful city in the world, and we want the capital city to reflect the strength of our nation. We discussed areas for collaboration between local and federal government, especially around our federal workforce, underutilized federal buildings, parks and green spaces, and infrastructure. I am optimistic that we will continue to find common ground with the president during his second term, and we look forward to supporting a successful inauguration on January 20th. Now, this is interesting to me for a couple of reasons, because Muriel Bowser is talking about a city that is already overinflated with federal workers, but she's like, look, there's underutilized buildings, empty buildings. There's underutilized public spaces, parks and whatnot. We need to figure out a way to make sure that those aren't being overrun with drug addicts and street gangs and criminals and homeless people. And Donald Trump's like, fine, agreed, we'll figure that out. But here's what she may or may not even realize, or maybe she will now that Donald Trump has met with her, is that there's about to be more emptied buildings. There's about to be more underutilized public spaces because the federal workforce is about to go down in size. It's going to get a massive decrease. They are going to take a hatchet to the number of people that are in DC on the daily. We already know Doge is there. Doge is in effect. They're going to come in and they're going to chop down agencies. They're going to cut the workforce. They're going to tell people, you better come in here to work or you're never going to work again. And a lot of those people are going to be like, sayonara. They're going to get rid of entire agencies. The Department of Education, they're talking about just shuttering. That's a huge building that's not going to be in service anymore. They're going to move other agencies out of Washington, D.C. This is something they've discussed at length. Let's spread it around the country. Why do we want all of these D.C. elitists who are all living in this little microcosm and feeding off of each other's negative energy? Why do we want all the government buildings here? Why don't we move the Department of the Interior to, the interior of the country? Why don't we move the IRS once we shrink it? We're not going to need this huge building. Why don't we put it somewhere where real Americans live so they can actually see the effect of higher taxes on real Americans? Why don't we get some of those people from the middle of the country that maybe could do these government jobs to do them where they live? So we get a certain different aspect, a certain outlook, a different outlook than just all of these DC bureaucrats that have been living there and working there forever. This is what's going to happen. Washington, D.C. is, under Donald Trump and the Department of Government Efficiency, going to shrink in size, which means it'll be easier to get dinner reservations at some of those restaurants, which is great. But there's going to be a lot more underutilized buildings and public spaces and parks and things like that. And you need to make sure you have a strong mayor and a city council and a police department and a federal government all in place to make sure that those things don't go straight to HE double hockey sticks. You want to make sure that they stay in a place where they are taken care of and updated and protected and beautified, because it is our capital city. So look, we got a lot of stuff going on, man. We're really excited. Tomorrow starts 2025. On January 20th, we start the new golden era, or the new golden age of the United States of America. And it's going to be fantastic for some of us. For some people, they're going to blink and they're going to let it go by. They're going to blink and be like, oh man, what happened? My life was supposed to be better. Well, Donald Trump created an atmosphere where you could make your life better. You actually have to do the making of your life better. And again, I don't want people to think that that's not the case. I don't want people to think that that's not the way it is, because that's the way it is. Donald Trump is going to build us the best gym in the world. Whether or not we go in there and make ourselves stronger and safer and more powerful and richer than ever before is up to us. And I'll have more on that here in just a minute. Speaking of richer, let's get to some of these super chats, shall we? Because we've had some people that have been sending us super chats all throughout the show. Oh, I still have the green background on for Christmas. Maybe should I change? All right, should I change the green background? Maybe I'll change the green background. I'll put it back on the blue. There we go. Christine Haggerty has sent us a super chat. I got to scratch my head too. $9.99. Christine, thanks. At $10, we'll call it. Happy New Year, Mark. I am so happy you're back and can't wait to see what your future holds. Run, run, run. Oh yeah. By the way, I've got, let's see, January 25th. That's 2 years until January 26th. Well, really a year and a half. Yeah. I'm getting more and more support for a potential congressional run in 2020, in 2026. In fact, my daughter said, you know, it would be great. It'd be great if you could run for Congress. And I said, why? Because I can go into Washington, D.C. and start voting for the people of District 5 instead of just voting to pad my own pockets and make sure that the people that have invested in me get what they need. And she goes, no, because it'll be the first time I'm voting and it'd be cool to vote for my own father. And I said, all right, that's true. I mean, who gets to do that? I mean, besides anyone named Trump, you know, but anyway, I was like, all right, great. So we'll potentially do that. But look, we've got a lot of work to do before then. We've got to, and I laid out all of my resolutions. I laid out that you can go watch that video with the Republican resolutions. But yeah, that's definitely something we're going to be working on, because at least here, and look, if I lived anywhere else, I have two choices really. Here are my choices. Ready? And Christiane, thank you again for that super chat. I appreciate it. I have two choices. One, move to a different district. I don't really want to move. You know, I like my house. I like where I live. I know where everything is. I finally met my neighbors. They're delightful people. You know, that I'm comfortable here. I don't need anything more. I don't want anything less. I'm good. I'm good here really for the long haul. Like luckily I've found a place where my wife and I and my family, I think we could survive for a good long time. Knock on wood. Good Lord willing. So I don't want to move. If I lived in another district, I wouldn't even entertain the thought. Why? Well, because if I lived, let's say, in District 4, where Aaron Bean would be my congressman, I'd be like, great, dude's doing a great job. I know some people are angry about a vote he made last week. I'm not. I'm content with how Aaron Bean is doing the Lord's work, or the government's work. Down south, got Mike Walls. Okay, he's leaving. Randy Fine may be the new congressman there. We're not really sure, but Mike Waltz is leaving. In the meantime, had I lived in Mike Waltz's district, I'd be okay with it too. Kat Kamek over in district, all the people that surround my district, I don't know what it is, man. They all lucked out. They got it great. They have fantastic representatives. And since I don't want to move, really my choices are move or, put your money where your mouth is. So maybe I'll buckle down and in a couple years I'll make that run. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how it works. I think by the way, I also, before I get to Caesar's super chat, I also have some great ideas too. I really think, because you want to talk about transparency, no one is going to be more transparent as a congressperson or a member of the government than I am. You know why? I'm gonna be walking around like this all day. Going into a meeting now with so-and-so, say hi. And they're gonna be like, could you please turn off your phone? I'll be like, hang on, I'll be back in 5 minutes. And then we're gonna get out of the meeting. I'll be like, oh my God, you're never gonna guess what just happened in the meeting. So-and-so said this. And everybody's gonna hate me except for you. Your guys are gonna love me because I'm gonna be the most transparent. I'm gonna be the Instagram congressman. I'll be the podcast politician, whatever it is. I will just, every time I'm done for the day, I'll just turn on the microphone and I'll be like, guys, here's what we did today. Here's who said this. Here's who said that, yada, yada, yada. And I don't care if I'm not on any committees. I don't care if I'm not invited to lunch. I don't care. Think about the content we could create together. And of course, we would continue to make America. It would be awesome. But you know what? The more I think about it, the more I like this idea. Cesar Garcia, $10 super sticker, lemon character holding his hands with gratitude on his face. Oh, I guess if I were actually on YouTube, I would see that. But since I'm not, it just describes to me the sticker. Caesar, I appreciate the super chat. That's very nice of you. I appreciate the lemon character holding his hands with gratitude on his face. That's we should all have gratitude on our faces and any other part of your body. It doesn't just gratitude is a really great thing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Happy New Year, Caesar. We're getting a bunch of Rumble rants. D Dockery, who, by the way, shout out again to the D Dockery, one of the 3 best mods we could ever have, who's diligently sending me Rumble rants. This one is $5 from Jeff Seaback, wishing everyone a happy new year and the best in the new year. Thank you, Mark, for all you do, and to D and Julie and the rest that help out Mark. Yes, Julie, Brandy, D Dockery, everybody is fantastic. Look, I figured out a way finally to show these Rumble rants. I think that's a little better than before. That's from Jeff. The next one is from, look at that, the D Dockery. Happy New Year, Chief Kayetriot. Looking forward to Mark Kaye show Saves the Republic busting through 2025 with both podcasts and aces. By the way, D Dockery celebrated a birthday the other day. So if you're on Rumble or wherever D happens to be, make sure you say, hey, happy belated birthday, D. And again, thanks to everybody else. This is from Mary Beth R 9047. Thank you, Mary Beth. We appreciate it. A $1 Rumble rant. Happy New Year's, Mark. Thank you for making the last day of 2024 great. I hope it's a happy day and night for you and your family. Enjoy and be something. It got cut off. Safe? Maybe? I guess safe. Harley Quinzel. Happy New Year, Mark. Can we please have 2 hours a day? Happy New Year, Kayetriots. I'll tell you what, if you want 2 hours a day, I'm going to need more Rumble rants. That's all I'm saying. Carla K. Clennon. Happy New Year, Kayetriots. Mark, can you work on getting Susie for Trump Day Wednesdays in 2025? I sure do miss Susie. I wonder how she's doing. I'll have to reach out to her. And see. Anyway, listen, thank you, Carla Clennon. That's, by the way, very generous with your $10 Rumble rant there. We appreciate it. We appreciate everybody's generosity. I appreciate everybody who's, joined ACES. ACES has been a tremendous success. We have over 600 members in our ACES free community, and you can go in there now. You can start to mingle with each other, meet each other. We're doing an AMA currently. So if you've ever wanted to ask me anything about any of our entrepreneurial pursuits here, you can join ACES right now. You can post on the AMA. It's free. Like I said, insideaces.com. It's free to join, and you can meet a really fantastic group of people that are dedicated to making their lives better in 2025. In fact, speaking of that, I wanted to remind you before I get out of here that cancel-proof cash flow is this thing is great. And I don't just say that because I wrote it, but I read it again. I took it to Kinko's, and it's a digital book, by the way. A couple people wrote to me and they said, hey, I never got my book. And I go, oh, let me double check. And I go, I resent it. And then they wrote me like 2 weeks later. I go, I still never got it. And I go, did you check your email? And they go, no, I would check my mailbox. And I go, no. It's not a hard, I just printed this one off so I could show it to you. But it's a digital book. You get it. It's an ebook. You can read it immediately. There's an audiobook that goes along with it. And the audiobook, like I said, you can listen to me read it if you don't want to, but it's really fantastic. This is the story of how I got canceled from everywhere. How I got canceled from Facebook, how I got canceled on YouTube, how I got canceled on LinkedIn, how I got canceled on the radio and on TV, and how I bounced back and built an incredible entrepreneurial venture, my own media company, and how really anybody can learn the lessons that I learned from getting canceled to A, build your own business, succeed in your own way and on your own terms, and most importantly, start posting on social media in a way that is cancel proof. Because you're going to want to start talking about stuff. You're going to want to start talking about current events. You're going to want to start talking about Donald Trump. The Democrats are going to do or say something. There's going to be some other national crisis. You're going to go on there. You're going to post something. And guess what? Oops, you're going to lose your account. You're going to be thrown in jail. You're going to get demonetized or suppressed or shadow banned or all of the above. And you're going to say, Mark Kaye, I need to know how to cancel proof my social media. Well, guess what? Cancel Proof Cashflow shows you exactly how to do that. And you can go to markkaye.com/cancel. Mark Kaye, MarkKaye.com/cancel. You can go there right now. You can get your own copy. It's instantly available. So if you're like, I need this now so I can hit the ground running, then like I said, you can go there right now. You can be listening to it. As soon as this broadcast is over, you could be listening to me tell you all about how I cancel proofed my business. And there's all kinds of it's real life information. There's actual, look, there I am, looking very surprised. There's a whole breakdown of what's inside, how you create cancel proof cash flow, how you can post on social media and protect yourself, how you don't have to worry about the tyrants, the big tech tyrants. And it's really fun. Like I said, you just click here, boom, you fill out the information and we will deliver it to you. We'll deliver it to you instantly. And a lot of people are really, I've learned a lot of people are really interested in this kind of information too, because they see these big time conservative influencers posting stuff and they're like, well, I try to do the same thing and mine just goes nowhere, or mine gets taken down, or I get fact checked and all this stuff. There's ways around all of that. And if you're a business owner, if you use social media to network or to work with your clients or anything, it's really, really important that you protect yourself, especially in 2025. Because like I said, the left isn't giving up. So, these leftists, these lunatic leftist socialists who run everything, they're not giving up. They're still there in the media. They're still running social media. They're still running the internet. They're still going to come after you and me, and they're going to try to stop us whenever they can. So this is more important now that we've won than it was before we won. MarkKaye.com/cancel proof. Thank you again for what I believe has been an incredible year. Been a weird year. A lot of things happened this year that we didn't expect. I didn't expect that I'd be broadcasting every single day from my house from Mar-a-Lago, but I'll tell you what, it's been going great. I didn't expect all the things that were going to happen last year. We didn't expect that just days on our way, in fact, to Milwaukee for the RNC, Donald Trump was going to get shot in the side of the head. We didn't know that there was going to be not one, but multiple Why'd my TV go on? Multiple assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. We didn't know any of that. Why'd my teeth? That's weird. We didn't know any of that was going to happen. We didn't know that Joe Biden was going to drop out of the race. We had a pretty good idea. We didn't know that Kamala Harris was going to be the one that was going to take his place. We didn't know what was going to happen, but man, it was a year unlike any other. We will probably never see another year like 2024 in our lifetimes, but that's okay, because 2025, like I said, is the beginning of the new golden age of the United States of America. You have to prep yourself for it. You have to get ready for it. You have to make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because every single day we'll be right here bringing you the news and the information and the inspiration and the enlightenment and fighting back against all the look. Donald Trump said it best. Here it is. It's the last day of the year. It's the last day of 2024. We're headed into New Year's Eve. We're headed into the inauguration. And what did Donald Trump do? Did he say Happy New Year? Not yet, but he will. Did he say, hey, we're New Year's, 2025 is going to be the best year ever? Not yet, but he will. What he said was, warning, stay smart and stay strong, because the Democrats are planning and plotting to do some stuff to stop us very, very soon. That's the best New Year's message we could have. We've got to stay diligent. We've got to stay informed. We've got to stick together. We've got to fight. Because in 2025, we've got to continue to save the Republic. This was so much fun. Cancel Proof Cash Flow. Get your copy right now. Go listen to it. It's fantastic. It takes like an hour to flip through. markkaye.com/cancel. markkaye.com/cancel. You can check out the link. It's right there in the description of this video. I will see you guys, not tomorrow because it's a holiday, but on Thursday. We'll be back Thursday and Friday. All new episodes to kick off the new year. See you guys.